I'm sure you've always wanted to play a cool harmony line from a song and really get the feel of that harmony when you do that. Well, in this video, we're going to learn how to play the twin guitar lines from that classic song Emerald by Thin Lizzy. And we're going to be using a specially created backing track that I've done just for this lesson. And it goes like this. Hi, it's Jeff Sinker from Skype Guitar Lessons Online, teaching you songs and musical ideas in a style that is easy to follow and understand. Emerald is the closing track of that classic 1976 album Jailbreak, and closes the album on a really high note. We'll be focusing on the harmony which appears just prior to that great dueling guitar solo by Brian Robertson and Scott Gorman. We'll be looking at all of the stages of the harmony and breaking it down note by note, and then combining it with the harmony track so you really get the experience of a true harmony. So let's jump right into it. The song is in the key of E minor, but to note, all of the guitars are tuned down a half tone. So we have E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, B flat and E flat. The key signature is 12/8 time. So this gives us a feel of a 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. The only part that's different is the opening two notes of each of the lines, which start on the previous bar. So we would get 4 2 3. So the first two notes of the lick are the odd ones out. Sense, so it goes in this 2 3 and then 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. So first of all, let's have a look at Brian Robertson's section. I'll play it through and then I'll break it down. So it goes like this. So what are we doing there? Well, as I mentioned previously, the first two notes on the line are going to be the pickup line from the previous bar, and they are going to be 5 7 on the G string. So we get this 4, which is that 5 7. The next three notes are going to be 5 on the B and then 7 5 on the G string. So we get, and we want to be playing that as a pull off between the 7 and the 5. So the first part is a hammer on, cross over to the 5 on the B, then we pick the 7 as a pull off. So the next three notes, now this is going to be a pull off with a slide. So we're playing 7 5 on the G, sliding down to the 4. Then we move back to the 5 4 on the G string, which is again a pull off. So we get, and the final note of the 3 is the 7, which I use with my little finger, which is the 7 on the D. So we put that all together, play it through nice and slow. So that is the first section. Next section again starts off with that, the last two notes we get in that 2 3. So we get 4, same thing again. Now this lick is exactly the same as the previous one. The only difference is that instead of ending on the 7 on the D string, we're actually going to end on an 8 on the B string. So we get that line going 5, finishing with that 8. So if I put the two lines together, you'll see the difference. And there's that 8 at the end. Now we've got another pickup line again, which is coming on the 2-3 at the end of that bar, which is going to be the 8 on the B string going to the 5 on the high E string. So we get, that's that pickup. Now we're back to the 3 notes again. So our next 3 notes are going to be 7 pull off to the 5 on the high E string, and then back to the 8 on the B string. Next section is going to be a 5 on the high E string, and then doing an 8 to a 6 with a pull off on the B string. Like that. Next we've got 8, 6, 4, which is a pick, pull off and a slide. So we're doing 8, 6 to the 5. Or if you want, you could run them all through on the same finger, or you could go 8, 6, 5. Now we've got a 6, 5, and then down to the 7 for the next 3. So it's a 6, 5 on the B to the 7 on the G. Then we've got a 5, 7, 5. So we do the 5 on the B and then a 7, 5, which is a pull off there. Now we're back to that same line we played on the previous line, where we're doing a 7, 5 pull off with a slide to the 4. And the last note is the 5 on the G. So let me just play through that final section all the way through nice and slow, and you'll be able to follow me through. And then Brian repeats the whole line all again. So they are the complete section that we'll be looking at for Brian Robertson. So what we're going to do now, we're going to check out the other harmony line that is played by Scott Gorham. So I will just play through and then I'll break it down for you. So it goes like this. Right, so as in the previous one, we're going to start off with that pickup line, which is going from the 7 on the D string, again I use my little finger on that, to the 4 on the G. So that's that 2, 3. Then we're going to play a 5, 4 pull off to a 7 for our next group. So we get a 5, 4 on the G to the 7 on the D. Then we got 4 on the G, and then with a 7 pull off to the 5 on the D string. Then we got another pull off with the 7, 5, and then going to the 7 on the A string. Different ways you can play that. You can move up or you can use your little finger. Same thing, whichever finger you decide to choose. They're both right. Next section, we go back and we start off with that pickup line again, which is the 7, 4. Then we've got the usual thing. So we're repeating the line same as we did before, but instead of going down to the 7 on the A string, we're actually going to finish it up on the 5 on the B string. So the line would go. Now the next line starts off with a 5 to the 6 on the B. That's your pickup line. And then we've got an 8, 6, 5, again all pull-offs. Then we do a 6, 5 to the 7 on the G. Then a 5, 7, 5, which is on the G string. So we start off with a 5 on the B, with a 7, 5 pull off. Then, similar to what we've done before on the previous line, we're going to do a 7, 5 pull off sliding to the 4. Then a 5, 4 pull off to the 7 on the D string. back to the 4 on the G, and then a 7/5 pull off on the D string, finishing with the 7 back on the 7 on the D string. Let me play that last part through nice and slow for you. And of course, same as what Brian was doing, Scott repeats the whole line all over again. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play the line that is played by Brian Robertson with the backing track that I have created that you've heard at the beginning, playing the line by Scott Gorman, so you can really hear the quality of the harmony coming through. So it goes like this. Sounds nice, doesn't it? Well, I have recorded, especially for this lesson, both sides of that. The one you just heard then is the low harmony being played in the background, and you play Brian Robertson. The second one is the opposite. So you can play Scott Gorman doing the low harmony. So the link is down below, takes you to that, and also there will be the tablature available for this as well. Well, I do hope you've enjoyed the short lesson. If you are interested in looking at the bigger lesson for the song Emerald, I am doing a course covering all of the guitar parts for that, and that will be available on the premium channel, and the link again will be down below. Well, I'm going to let you go. So until the next time, this is Jeff Sinker, wishing you well, and I'll speak to you again real soon.